Shabbat Shalom, everyone. How's it going? Come on. Disastrous effects of spilling wine on the keyboard last week. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharei, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Malachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malchei amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeidchem l'shalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malchei amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. It'll get too high if we keep going. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, why not? Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. All right, let's get into it. Shabbat Shalom again, everybody. Welcome. Nice to see the numbers growing. I'm giggling because, it's been a week. My name is Rabbi Matthew Leibl. I'm coming to you live from Congregation Sheretz Tzedek here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, where the local time is just after 5:30. The sun will be setting soonish. We've got the candles out. The wine is ready. Sunset, schmunset. Let's bring in Shabbat together. We do it every week at the same time. Of course, we know Shabbat is never at the same time. Shabbat is unique. But we bring it in, and it's a special moment, a special hour to be together. So thank you for joining. We use a book called the Sidur Chadash. It looks like this. You probably don't happen to have a copy at home. If you do, it's the Sidur Chadash. And we'll start in a minute on page 174. If you still want to follow along, on our website, szwinnipeg.ca, there is a link to the Sidurim, the prayer books we use for all of our services. Follow the link and click on the one for Friday night, and you can follow along too. We don't do a mincha, we do a psalm and the Kaddish, and then we move right into Kabbalat Shabbat, and then later the Ma'ariv, or the evening service for Shabbat. You can follow all this through the prayer book, and in fact, the psalm we do at the beginning, though it is page 174, it's the first slide, the first screen in the PDF, and then after that it follows chronologically. I see that so many people have joined us, and people are on the chat. That is great. And I see the most recent message there from Tony. And yes, you're absolutely right, Tony. There's a message that we put out today. This horrible, they call it a crush, stampede, this horrible thing that happened in Israel yesterday, Lag BaOmer on Mount Meron, which is kind of a Lag BaOmer pilgrimage site where they go to a famous rabbi's gravesite and honor his yort site. And many dozens of people, I think 45 people have died and 150 people are still injured. So we have the Kaddish coming up in a few moments, and we will do the Misha Berach later on for all those who are sick, including people who are recovering. And I was reading about it today. It was very hard to read. I couldn't read anymore. So that's on our minds as well. And of course, probably all of you know that there was an announcement about my future at the synagogue. Weird to put these things back to back, but it's just our opening here. I think my news is way less significant than that news, to be honest with you. But for any of our international friends or people who may not have heard, I don't know where you've been, but on Tuesday the synagogue put out an announcement that at the end of June, when my contract is up, I am not going to be coming back as the rabbi. I think I'm still a rabbi for life. That's what the other rabbis in town have told me. Quote, once a rabbi, always a rabbi. That's what the Orthodox rabbi in town told me. So I'm going with that. So I'm still going to be rabbi, but I'm just not going to be rabbi here. And it is a difficult decision, but what many of you know, and maybe some of you don't, but I'm telling you all now, is though I've only been a rabbi here 4 years officially ordained, 1 year before that as a rabbinic intern, I've been involved with the Shared Zedek Synagogue for 17 years. I started when I was 19, teaching bar mitzvah lessons and Torah reading, and as you all know, I do that to this day. I did it when I lived in a different city and in Halifax and was going to school. It's been a long time. When I started that job, I couldn't grow a beard. I lived in my parents' house, and I had no formal university education. I now have multiple degrees. I've become a rabbi. I have a wife, a house, a mortgage, and 2 beautiful baby boys. And this synagogue has been a constant in my life throughout all of those changes. But it is time. It is time. I'm going to be taking a step back from a public working life, and I'm going to be a career dad for a little while and enjoy these first few years for Hugo and Felix. I've got 2 more months. I'm not leaving tomorrow. So I believe this is our 9th last Kabbalat Shabbat together. And enough about me. I want this to be about all of us, about you, and about Shabbat, and I want to make them all count. So we're going to try to outdo ourselves week after week, and it starts right now. For those of you who have sent me messages, emails, text messages, phone calls, there have been a lot this past week. It has been amazing. I can assure you that this decision is not easy in the sense that I'm not sad about part of leaving and students I won't get to finish teaching, and I've talked to all of them and their parents and people that I won't be seeing on the regular, like all of you on Friday nights, come July and beyond. But it was an easy decision in the sense that a friend of mine reached out and said, quite often these hard moments in life, we know all along, it just takes a while for head and heart maybe to catch up. And that's a truth for me as well. This is a good move for me. This is the right move for me and for my family. And everyone who has reached out, in spite of sharing their disappointment, which I hear, has told me that they support me. Which, for the record, is the way I've always felt here since I was 19 years old. And Len Barsky, on my first week, all of a shalom, told me, you cannot read Torah in a nice dress shirt and pants. Go buy some suits. He was right. But he still supported me. Everybody has. And for that, you're not supposed to say you're lucky. You're supposed to say you're blessed. I feel this week, all weeks, but especially this week, I felt truly blessed. For those of you who are disappointed with me or maybe even angry with me, I hear you. You're allowed to be, and I am sorry. But I hope that we can still enjoy these last 2 months together. For those of you in Winnipeg, I ain't going anywhere. I'm going to still live here. And I'm going to be around. So you can see me, and I may still pop up as a rabbi in places. Who knows? I don't have a lot of plans other than to have all this wonderful time with my boys and my wife, and I tell you, I could not be more excited. But right now, I'm incredibly excited for Kabbalat Shabbat. We start with Psalm 30 on page 174, Thank you again, all of you, for tuning in, for being along for the ride this evening for Kabbalat Shabbat as we bring in Shabbat together, my favorite service of the week. So thank you. Page 174. Mizmor shir Chanukah Rabbi leDavid Amrim Chadonai Gidi litani velo simachto evai li. הפכת מספיל מחולי, פיתת שקי ותזרין שמחה, למען יזמרך כבוד ולא ידום אדוני אלוהי לעולם עודך. We turn to page 176 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Before we leave the days of the week behind, and specifically this day, which was the 18th day of Iyar, also known as Lag BaOmer, the 33rd day in the Omer, we will commemorate the following yortzites and recite Kaddish for these folks whose yortzites are the 18th of Iyar. Israel Bookman, Yitzchak ben Yarucham Fischel, William Ber Brodowski, Zev Wolf ben Chaim Yosef, Sarah Kosoy, the Lebovich family, Yaakov, Leah, Chaim, Wolf, and Mordechai. Sarah Eleanor Fradkin, Sarah Elka bat Aharon, David Glickman, David ben Avraham, Ruth Goldberg, Rochel bat Michal, Florence Kaminsky, Harry Cates, Anshel ben Daniel HaKohen, Rose Waterman, Esther Lebain, Aaron Levine, Aharon ben Yosef, Rose Lipchen, Razel bat Mendel, Enid Morantz, Esther Gittel bat Yisrael Yosef Ufega, Lillian Roden, Leah bat Yosef Umaram, Doris Rawson, Devorah bat Hirsch Leib, Ethel Hector Scheif, or Schief, Ethel bat Binyamin, Sadie Singer, Morris Swartz, Moishe ben Chaim Vishendel, Mendel Tartar, Mendel ben David, Marian Vicker, Miriam bat Yisrael, Zichronam Livracha, all of blessed memory. As well, from One More Candle, the organization that helps us remember the 1.5 million children who perished in the Holocaust. We call the name of a child every day, and today on the 18th of Iyar, we remember Sima Bogundiova of blessed memory. Also, this past week, we honor those we lost. We honor their memories, we mourn their passing. Goldie Rash, Golda Badadina V'chaim, Bernice Ethel Macklin Marmel, Renee Malmgren, and the 44 people who lost their lives yesterday at the Lag BaOmer celebration in Meron, Israel. All of blessed memory. If there's anyone with a yortzeit for the 18th of Iyar and we haven't called your loved one's name, please, if you have access to the chat, please type it in. So it's at the very beginning of the PDFs, the first couple of slides, page 176. Also, there's page 124 later. They have the Mourner's Kaddish. Mourners and those observing yortzeit, I invite you to rise and join with me in these words. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'alam u'lamei almaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shmei dekudsha b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav. Huyaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Please be seated. I see there are a lot of messages in the chat. I just want to thank everybody for being here again. We will get to those messages. But let's get into Kabbalat Shabbat. Some of the best music of the Sidur is here on Friday night. Starting with Lechuna Ranana, Come Let's Rejoice to God. We've got the little keyboard out. There's a tricky situation here because I spilled wine last week or maybe 2 weeks ago during a very animated toast to Shabbat, and as a result the middle C and the B below it are caught, and so I'm trying to Keep them separate. Page 22. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, ladonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, ladonai. Naria, naria, letzuri sheinu nekad mafanav betoda. Naria, naria, letzuri sheinu bizmirot naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, ladonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, ladonai. We continue silently for a few moments till we get to the third last line on the bottom of the page, page 22. Ki el gadol Adonai u'melech gadol kol Elohim asher b'yedo mechalkei haaretz. Third line from the bottom. Arba'im shana kud bedor v'omar am to'e levavhem ve'hem lo yadu derachai. Asher nishbati ve'api imivun el menuchati. Page 24. Shir l'Adonai shir chadash. Page 24, bottom of the page. 4 lines from the bottom. I got to hear you on this one. Yismechu hashamayim, yismechu hashamayim, yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yismechu hashamayim, yismechu hashamayim, yismechu hashamayim, v'tagel haaretz. Yihiram hayam, yihiram hayam, yihiram hayam umelo. Yihiram hayam, yihiram hayam, yihiram hayam umelo. Yalo sadai, yalo sadai, yalo sadai v'chol asher bo. Az yiranenu, az yiranenu, az yiranenu kol atzeyar. Az yiranenu, az yiranenu, az yiranenu kol atzeyar. Lifnei Adonai kiva, kiva lishmor haaretz, yishmot tevel b'tzedek, ve'amim b'emunato. Page 26. Adonai malach tagel haaretz. All right, so I saw there were some messages. I want to welcome people as we work our way through. Git Shabbos, Judge RLP. Great to have you. David, I hope I don't know about disciples, but I hope I was able to explain a little bit in the beginning there. Judy, Shabbat Shalom. Yuda, I thought I saw there was a message in Hebrew from you too, Yuda. I'll keep looking. Charlotte is with us. Shabbat Shalom to you and to everyone. Marilyn, Sadie, Jerome, Shabbat Shalom. Beverly, thank you very much. Valerie and Terry Zed over in the U.S. and the New York area. Shabbat Shalom, y'all. Hiya to you too. Eugene, Shabbat Shalom. Shelley, Shabbat Shalom. Barb and Sid, it is so nice to have you here. Oh, you're in the FDR Drive on the traffic, Sarah B. Good to have you with us. Yes, Yuda, there's the Hebrew message. I understand. I know. Don't worry, Yuda. We'll still be buddies, I promise. But I know. Sandy and Marvin, so nice to have you. Susan. Terry Zed, a little bit of Hebrew too. Fun set. Robert's with us. Othmain. Tony, we mentioned. Thank you. Thanks, yes. Oh, lots of messages there. Alice and Bill, thank you so much. I'm not going anywhere yet, I promise. Not right now. Lori and Israel, thank you. Oh, Peter, you're very kind. And Jackie, it's lovely to see you too. Barb Neiman, thank you for being here. Chana Tao, that's great. Great to have you, Chana. It's been a while. And Alice, you're a wonderful colleague and student. There's no question about that. And thank you, Phyllis. Anyway, we're on page 26. I appreciate everybody being here. Very nice of you to say all these things. Let's enjoy this Friday night and the Friday nights we have together. Or zaru al tzadik, uleishrei lev simcha, simchu tzadikim baronai, vehodu lezecher kodsho. Page 28. Mizmor shir l'Adonai, shir chadash, ki niflo rasa. Zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra. Bottom of page 28. Lifnei Adonai kiva, kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek, ve'amim b'mei sharim. Page 30. Adonai malach yirgazu amin. Ramu Adonai Eloheinu. This is a quick one. We can do it. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu ramu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu ramemu. Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Please rise. Page 34, last psalm before Lecha Dodi. Get our singing going. A little bit more. Mizmor leDavid. I said please rise, right? Yeah, please rise. Havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim. Havu l'Adonai kavod va'oz. Havu l'Adonai kivod shemo. Ishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh. Kol Adonai al hamayim el hakavod. Hirim Adonai hamayim, hamayim, hamayim rabim, hamayim, hamayim, hamayim rabim. Kol Adonai b'koach, kol Adonai behadar, kol Adonai shover arazim. Vayishaber Adonai et arzei alvanon, vayarkidem kemo egel levanon, v'siryon kemo ven reimim, kemo ven reimim. Kol Adonai chotzev lahavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai echolel ayalot, vayechesov yarod, uvechala kulo merkavod, kulo merkavod, kulo merkavod. Adonai lama bu yashav, vayeshev Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz le'amo iten, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom, et amo be seated. I want to see this last message. The Rising Phoenix. I like that. I haven't seen you here before, Rising Phoenix. Identify yourself. All boys and no prey makes an hour out of the house and a restaurant door that stays closed. I don't get that. I don't get what I don't get it. Shabbat shalom to you, Roberto. Maybe you'll explain in an email or something, Sarah. Page 38. We got a record crowd on a Friday night. We just tipped the scales, 60 viewers. I love that. Very cool. Friday night's my favorite. I think I've said that before. And this is my favorite part probably of Friday night. Lecha Dodi, when we imagine Shabbat coming into our lives like a bride at a wedding. And if you have not heard the way I do this, I do the whole thing. I just change up the tune a couple of times. This first one is from a singing rabbi I discovered in the pandemic a year ago. Rabbi Josh Warshawski. Page 38. Lecha Dodi likrat kala lepenei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekavela. Shamor v'zachor beribor echad Ishmiyanu elam yuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad L'shem tiferet ve'litila Lecha Dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekavela. Shabbat techila lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash melechir melucha Ravlach shevet be'mekabacha v'hoyachamo alayichem la lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela. Hinari me'afar kumi livshi bigdei tifartechami al yad bein ishai beit alachmi karvai al nafshi ge'ala. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekavela. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekavela. Page 40. Hitoreri kiva orech kumi ori shir daberi kivud Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabela, lechadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela, lo tevoshi velo tikami, matishtochachi umatehemi, vachechesu aniyei ami, venivneta ir al tila, lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Of course, Rob, of course. V'hayu limshisa shosayich, v'rachakuk omevalayich, yasisalayich Elohayich, kimsos chatana kala la 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 lechadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela, lechadodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Yaminu smol tifrotzi, vet Adonai taritzi, al yadish ben partzi, venismecha venagila, la la lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. All right, last paragraph. I invite you to rise wherever you are. And even if you don't normally stand when I invite you to rise, this is one worth standing for, so that you can bow for the Shabbat bride. Face the door, whatever direction it is, north, south, east, west. Face the door, and maybe close your eyes. Do whatever you need to do. Picture a bride coming into a room at a wedding. And that's exactly what happens every week here as Shabbat enters our lives at the end of this long, beautiful, lyrical love poem. L'chadodi, our beloved, likrat kala, to call the bride, the Shabbat bride. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam v'simcha u'v'tzahala, toch emunei am skula, boi chala, lecha dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela, la 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 lecha dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nekabela. Please be seated. Nice. Well, I put the jinx on myself after I said we had a record crowd. The numbers have kind of dropped a bit. But that's sometimes people having trouble connecting and things like that. We got a couple more stops in Kabbalat Shabbat. Sorry we're a little late. I had that little spiel at the beginning. I apologize. Page 42. Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat. Shalom, Rochelle, who's here. Rochelle Pinkovich, that's great to see you. And Rottweiler boy, shalom. Oh, West, it's beautiful. I love this one too. 4 lines from the bottom. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. Tzadika tamar yifrach keherez balvanon yiskeh shtuli beve Chatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu Od Yenuvun Deseva Deshenim Verananim Iyu Hagi Ki Yashar Adonai Tzuri Tzuri Velo Avlatabo. And we conclude Kabbalat Shabbat with one more psalm. It's on page 44. Adonai Malach Yehud Lavesh. Heidotecha nemnu me'od leveit chanav HaKodesh Adonai leorech yamim. This concludes Kabbalat Shabbat, but we've got Ma'ariv, the evening service, which is liturgically, I've mentioned this before, the official beginning of Shabbat. We switch the mood, we switch the nusach, the tune, to a very special Ma'ariv as Shabbat begins for us. And to help us mark this transition from Chol, from everyday to Shabbat, from regular to sacred, from ordinary to holy, we will recite the Mourner's Kaddish. And invite you to turn to page 124. And if you are in mourning or observing a yard site for the 19th of ER, I invite you to rise with me. This week's Shabbat falls on the 19th of ER, and on the 19th of ER we remember the following people commemorating their yard sites. Harry Dubinsky, Morris Fleischman, Moshe ben Tzvi, Hyman Ginsberg, Chaim Yaakov ben Elia Leib, Bernard L. Jacob, Rose Miller, Rachel bat Yosef Edith, Sam Rosenthal, Shmuel ben Hersh Leib, Max Schuster, Mendel Menachem ben Baruch, Adolf Strass, and Yael Cherny, Yael bat Chava. Zichronam livracha, all of blessed memory. Also from one more candle, Riva Boguslavsky of blessed memory. If you know of someone, if you have a loved one who has a yard site on the 19th of ER and we have not called his or her name, please type the name into the chat so we can call it out loud before the Kaddish, for those of you who are on Facebook or YouTube. We also acknowledge the folks we've lost, who have passed in this past week. We honor their memory and mourn their passing. Goldie Rash, Golda bat Adina V'chaim, Bernice Ethel Macklin Marmel, Renee Malmgren, and the 44 people who lost their lives yesterday in the crush, stampede of the Lag BaOmer celebration in Meron, Israel. All of blessed memory. Again, we move ahead to page 124 for a moment. The Mourner's Kaddish and mourners and those observing yard site, you're invited to rise with me. Yikedal v'yikedash shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon u'v'yamechon u'v'chayi dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'gala u'v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'alam u'amei almayam. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. Yidadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlaba rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. I invite you to remain standing if you were standing for the Kaddish, or rise. Let's all stand together. It's Baruch Hu on page 50. It's the call to worship. The official beginning of Ma'ariv, the evening service. Me, then you. Let's do this together. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai Vorach Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. Shabbat Shalom, Leon. Nice to have you here. And I really love that message that Alice and Bill you put in the chat for Yehuda. Agreed. Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila. Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamidim loch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamari v'aravim. Page 52. Ahavat olam bein Yisrael amchavta. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, v'hem negei yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavat chal tasir mimenu lolamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Israel. Let's join together on page 54. Cover our eyes even. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha. Ve'ayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha yom al levavecha. V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha ve'ayu letodafot b'neinecha uchtabtam amezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. We can continue silently on pages 56 and 58 through the rest of the Shema. Shabbat Shalom, Ian Rab. Great to have you here. Bottom of page 58. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 60. Emet b'emunah kol zov v'kayam aleinu. Ki hu Adonai Eloheinu v'tzot v'nach l'Yisrael amo. Umalchuto beratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe bnei Yisrael. Lechanu shira b'simcha rabba ve'ameru chulam. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Norati Lord. Osef ele Malchutcha ra'u vanecha Bokeam lifnei Moshe Ze'lianu ve'amru Adonai imloch Le'olam va'ed V'ne'emar Kif Adonai Yaakov U'galom yad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael. Page 62. This one's another really, really good one. weeks back, I think it was Sarah B., one of our international friends, who realized that the chords are when I find myself, there it is, when I find myself in times of trouble. But that's not what it is. It's Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'Chaim. 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 Third line from the bottom. Ushmor Tzeitenu Uvoenu L'Chaim U'Shalom Me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'Chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'Chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'Shalom V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'Chaim. V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'Chaim. V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'Chaim. Second line from the bottom where we left off. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai Aborez sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al Yerushalayim. Amen, amen, amen. We're almost at the Amidah, but it doesn't hurt to get up now. This one feels very reggae to me the last several weeks. Please rise, page 64. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Ledorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael od hi leolam. Od hi leolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et haaretz. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi shavat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash. Shabbat vayinafash. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. It is the Chatzi Kaddish before the Amidah. It is page 66. Yikadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabba ve'alma divrach hirutei ve'amlich malchutei v'chayechanu v'yomechanu chayedecho bein Yisrael bagala uvizman kariv v'yimeru amen. Yeshmei Rabba mevorach le'alam u'la'amei almaya Yiparach ve'yishtabach V'par v'roman v'naseh v'tadar v'taleh v'talal Shmei dekudesha b'richu le'ila min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imeru. Amen. So, the Amidah is now standing prayer. You can use the Siddur. Page 68 is the traditional opening with just the Avot, just the patriarchs. Page 69 is the more modern interpretation of the opening that includes the Imahot, the matriarchs, the way we always do it out loud here at Sharet Zedek. You can use the Hebrew or the English and follow through the Siddur. Or you can take this time for the silent Amidah, and if the words of the Siddur don't do it for you, use your own words of prayer. It's the first Amidah, our first private audience before God of Shabbat. The Shabbat is upon us, and so I invite you to make it count using whatever words have the most meaning for you. Let's take a few minutes now for the silent standing prayer, the silent Amidah. When you finish your prayers, you may be seated. Coming back from the silent Amidah here, I'd like to do the special Misha Beirach we do, and if you have names you'd like to add to our prayers, please do that. Leticio Corrado, Stephen Mebatia Ben Wangari, Esther Leah Bat Menicha, Bailey Bat Reisel, Sivia Bat Brana, Leah Bat Rachel, Dvor Gitel Bat Leah, Binyamin Pinchas Ben Dvor Gitel, Nachum Le Ben Leah, Avram Ben Rachel, Chazan Shefer Ben Miriam, Shendel Bat Miriam, Harav Avraham Yehoshua Heschel Ben Ruth, Risa Bat Sarah, Elohim Pesach Ben Esther Pesi, Sorasima Bracha Bat Gidel Shendel, Uri Akiva Ben Sarah, Rachel Bat Sonia, Alfie Glass, Sparrow Ben Dvora, Esther Bela Bat Sarah, Atara Bat Etel, Shmuel Le Ben Gidel, Dana Brinley, Janice Steiner Bat Batsheva, Stephen Alexander Lee, Lucy Braverman, Michael Braverman, Risa Langhans, Karen Greenberg, Ari Ben Devora, Maria Carmelita Ferreira da Silva, Georgina Tessara, Shoshana Bat Sarah, Adrian McDonald, Frida Bat Regina, Rishon Ben Sarat, Sivia Bat Sluva, Moshe Ben Bluma, Aviva Bat Malka, Yaakov Ben Sion Ben Miriam, Isabella Bat Sarah, Chai Zahava Bat Leah, Bat Sheva Bat Sarah, Yitzchak Dov Ben Bela, Moshe Aharon Ben Leah, Miriam Rachel Bat Leah, Rachel Bat Zelda, Ari Ben Chana, Gary Simkin, Chavanecha Bat Sarah Root, and the 150 people injured at this Lag BaOmer celebration in Meron, Israel yesterday. As well, Jerry Marcus, Carmel Bat Iris, not only do we pray for those we know who are sick and in need of a refuah shlema, a return to a state of better health, whether it's physical health or emotional health, mental health. We also pray for doctors, nurses, and healthcare providers who continue to battle on the front lines against the pandemic, in many places a third wave. So this Misha Beirach is for all of them. Misha Beirach Avotenu Mekor habracha limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mekor habracha avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, We're on page 80. If you are willing and able, you may stand with me here until Kiddush. Many people have that custom. Get yourselves ready for Kiddush for sure, some Manischewitz or whatever you got. First on page 80. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzvam vayechal Elohim vayom hashvi melachto asher asa vayishbot bayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvi vayekadesh oto Kivo Shabbat Mikol Melachto, Kivo Shabbat Mikol Melachto, Asher bara Elohim, Asher bara Elohim lasor. Page 82. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarai, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel v'Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon Konei Shamayim v'Aretz, Magen Avod bidvaro, Mechaye Metim b'mamaro, Ha'el Hakadosh Ha'ein Kamohu Ameniach le'amo, B'yom Shabbat Kodsho, Kivam Ratza le'aniach lahem, Kivam Ratza le'aniach lahem, Lefanav Navod B'yirav Afachad, V'nodeh Lishmo B'chol Yom Tamid, Me'ein habrachot el hahodaot, Adona Adona Shalom Mekadesh HaShabbat U'mvarech Shevi U'meiniach B'kedusha Le'amedu Shnei Oneg Zecher L'maaseh V'Reishit. Page 84. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu Retzevim Nuchateinu. Kadeshenu b'mitzvotecha v'ten chelkeinu b'toratecha, Sabeinu mituvecha v'samcheinu b'shuatecha, v'taer v'taher libeinu le'ovdecha be'emet, v'taher libeinu le'ovdecha be'emet, ve'anchileinu Adonai Eloheinu Be'ava uvratzon Shabbat kodshecha, v'yanuchu Yisrael v'kadeshei shemecha, v'taher libeinu le'ovdecha be'emet, v'taher libeinu v'taher libeinu le'ovdecha be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai Megadesh HaShabbat. Page 86, Kaddish Shalem. Yigadav Yigadav Shemei Rabbah Be'amad Yivrach Yerdeva Mechwag Deva Chayechon V'Mechon Chayro B'Yisrael B'Galav Yizman Kari Ve'imeru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'alam Ulam Me'almaya Yibarach V'Yishtabach V'Yipar V'Dramam V'Yinaseh V'Yidadar V'Yidalev V'Yidalal Shemei Dekudesha B'Richu Leila Mikol B'Yachna V'Shirata Tushvechata V'Nechmata Damiram Be'amah Ve'imeru Amen. Tikabal Tzlot Hon Uvad Hon Dechol Yisrael Kodab Avon Dishmai Ve'imeru Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chaim Aleinu B'Kol Yisrael Ve'imeru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Mroma V'Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael Ve'imeru Amen. I don't know what overcame me there to go with the high. Amen. We're a little late. Sorry, I gave a little story at the beginning. Well, David Wilder, you had said that I needed to do some splaining, and so I hope I was able to do that. Yeah, it's weird. I did this once before in my life. For those of you who don't know, that is like have a retirement. Going to be 36 years old, and I've retired from 2 jobs. It's pretty funny. Today is my father-in-law's last day of work. I don't know if he's watching, and I want to wish him a happy retirement. And now he's got all this free time to come and fix up my house, which is awesome. No, to David, congratulations on a wonderful career. And now you get to enjoy. Yeah, so when I left the radio, and now a few months from now, we're going to be moving on from Shared Zedek. It's a tough thing. I'm going to make every minute count in the next 2 months. I want to thank all of you for every Friday night you've watched, every service you've watched, every email you've sent, every good thought you've thought. They make it to me too, whether you know it or not. And when I left the radio 5 years ago and went into the studying and became a rabbi to do the synagogue things that I had been doing for 12 years at that point and more full time, a lot of people asked me if I felt like I had gotten a calling or something like that. And I think they expected like a religious calling, a calling from God or something like that. And I said, I did, but it's a calling from the people. And I can say this with absolute confidence and certainty. I'm not leaving Winnipeg. Our plan is to stay here, and I'm going to be a dad. My wife has a great career. We have 2 boys. We have other family and friends, and we love this town. And we love the people in our community. And being around, I don't see any reason why we can't have chats, why we can't see each other, simchas. Maybe there'll be weddings. Maybe there will be funerals. I'm around. And I look forward to being around and continuing to serve and help and work with the same people who were my calling to get here in the first place 17 years ago, and certainly 5. Shared Zedek will always be my synagogue. This is where I had my bar mitzvah. This is where I had my ufruf. This is where I brought my first son to have a baby naming and announced that he was named for my Zeta. That's Hugo. And if my second son had been born not in a pandemic, we would have done the same. Maybe we still will. I care very much about this place, and I care especially very much about all of you. And when I look back on my time here, I will look back on it with nothing but fond memories and a very special place in my heart. That wasn't what I was going to say. But after that, I have nothing left to say. So, let's make Kiddush together on page 90. Grab your wine, or whatever you're using, and please, rise and join with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. V'shabbat kodsho be'ava uvratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron l'masev reshit, ki hu yom techila l'mikrae kodesh, zecher l'tzion Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol amim. B'shabbat kodshecha be'ava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. And this one's for Yehuda. I've never done it like Yehuda does it. I will try. How sweet May you all have a sweet and wonderful Shabbat. But first, we have to count the Omer and do Aleinu and the Kaddish. So let's do that. Thank you to all of you for tuning in tonight. What a record crowd. It's so nice. I love Friday night. I hope you do too. And I will be back next week to do it again. Services tomorrow morning are at 10, Parshat Emor. We were going to have a bar mitzvah. The COVID restrictions have come in, and this week it's been a crazy week. So the bar mitzvah is pushed to the end of June. And tomorrow we have a guest Torah reader who knows the Parsha very well. And we will do our Shabbat morning thing, and it's going to be awesome. For Emor, Finidat Emor. That's a joke from me and myself. I'm sorry. So that will be tomorrow. If you've got your site on the 19th of ER, tomorrow at 6 o'clock, Shabbat Mincha with Leslie Emery, and then moving forward into Sunday, 9 a.m. for Shacharit with Bill Wiseman, 6 p.m. Mincha Mari with Bill Wiseman. Great ritual team, and we will all be here tomorrow. Rabbi Mas is back. There, yeah, Yuda, I did it for you. I did it for you. Reverence and goofiness. Those are good things, I guess. Okay, page 732 if you have it. We're just finished Lag BaOmer, so I think you got an idea of what today could be. We are about to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer, as it is written in the Torah, you shall count from the day following the day of rest, from the day that you brought an Omer of grain as an offering. 7 full weeks shall be counted. You shall count 50 days to the following. You shall count 50 days to the day following the 7th week. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav etzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Praised are you, Adonai our God, who rules the universe, who has taught us the way of holiness through the mitzvot and enjoined upon us the counting of the Omer. Hayom, Arba'a u'shloshim yom shehem arba'a shavuot v'shisha yamim la'omer. Today is the 34th day of the Omer, which is 4 weeks and 6 days of the Omer. Aleinu, page 118. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol atekedu laliot ser breishit shelo asanu kigoye haratzot velo samanu kimishpechot hadama shelo samchalkenu kahem vegor aleinu kechol amonam vanachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei amlachim hakadosh baruch hu. כן, נקבל אחד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד. Thank you to all of you for spending the last hour and a bit with me, for letting me spend it with you. That's really what it is. You have me on iPads and computers and maybe phones in the car, in your house, in your kitchen, in your dining room, your living room. It's so cool to me the way Shul has morphed and changed over this last year and a half as we've managed to stay together in spite of being apart. Shul is a really special thing. Tefillah, prayer is a special thing. Shabbat, all of this is very special. Thank you for making it that way. We'll conclude with the Mourner's Kaddish. I invite you to remain standing with me. We have a custom here to be mindful of all those who have no one to say Kaddish for them, and so we say Kaddish for them. And we will do that here to conclude on page 124. Again, thank you for your messages. They mean the world to me. Thank you for helping me get to this point in my life. And let's enjoy the time that we are still going to be praying and learning and singing together, because it's what we do best. However you spend this Shabbat, with whomever you are able to spend it, even if it's by yourself, may it be one of peace. May it be one where you can leave the craziness of the week behind, and where it's one where you brings you enlightenment and fulfillment and meaning. Mourner's Kaddish, page 124. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach irutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chaychon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lamei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yinaseh, v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudsha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei ishlam Rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Aseh shalom b'mramav. V'yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Thank you, everyone. Shabbat shalom u'mivorach. We'll see you next time.